Hello everybody and welcome to 3 Colors Up. In this one I'm going to show you an easily repeatable, simple color scheme using the box art to paint a Lancelot Cruiser from the Crown starter set for Dystopian Wars. Pretty straightforward, not a lot of colors used, very simple techniques. You should get it all done in no time. So to begin our cruiser, the first thing I've done is given it a primer coat. This is Citadel Grey Sear, and from there we're going to be moving to a base color which is deep grey. This is Warpaint's Fanatic, and this is going to be an overall coat. So what I'm selecting is a fairly broad brush, and I'm going to apply this over the entire model. We might need more than one coat, but let's see how we get on. With the grey down, and it's a good little coat there as well, 2 coats, maybe just a little third pass a little bit lighter, we're going to move on to shading, and for that I'm going to use a Speedpaint, and that is Grim Black. And what I want to do with that is charge my brush with a bit of water, and I'm going to thin it down, and then we're going to apply it sort of like a wash, and we're going to cover, again, we're going to do the whole lot. So this is just going to get into all those recesses, and that Speedpaint fluid is going to give us some nice sharp sort of shading. As you can see now, our Grim Black is dry, and what it's done is toned down the miniature quite a lot, but also added a bit of deeper shade into the recesses. So that's exactly what we were looking for. Nothing too sharp, but has definitely helped quite a bit. What I'm going to move on to now is a dry brush, and for that I'm going to be using Uniform Grey. That's going to bring us up a nice sort of detailing. So I have a big soft brush here, and what I'm doing is just dipping a bit of that into my paint. And usually you would use a cloth for this, but I just have my hand. And you're going to see me taking off the majority of that paint until the application is very light. So that seems to be about right. Now it's just a case of applying the dry brush. And what I'm doing here is going in vertical motions to catch all our horizontal detail and anything that protrudes out from the hull a little bit further. And then sideways lightly as well to catch all that vertical detail. With the dry brush now done, you can just have a quick look around the model and see just how much that has brought up the edges of the model and allowed our shading with our Grim Black and the deepness of that deep grey initially to really give us some depth onto the model without a lot of effort. You know, we're on step 3. That's pretty good. What we're going to move on to now is our first flash of colour, and that is going to be Dragon Red, and we're going to be applying that rather simply on all the areas that need to have red. Straightforward. So what we have is this panel here, then we have a lot of this detail here, so most of the prow essentially. So here, 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 and all in these areas here that are going to be our red. So it's just going to be a case of carefully working up our red. Probably take a couple of coats to do this, but once that's done we can move on. With our Dragon Red down, you can see that it is quite a bright colour, and from there we're going to move on and start to shade that red down a little bit, and you can see the areas that I've done. So for that, we're going to be using another Speedpaint. We're going to be using Slaughter Red, and we're going to be applying that over the areas that we've just painted with our Dragon Red. And that will punch some shading in and should richen up the colour a little bit. With our Speedpaint dry, we can have a look at the shading that we have managed to achieve, and that looks fine. Pretty decent. It's livened up the recesses a little bit, added a bit of shadow in there, and it has dried a little bit patchy. So what I want to do now is I'm returning to Dragon Red, and with my Dragon Red, what I'm going to do is just another layer, and the way I want to do it is just to tidy up the larger flat areas because the Speedpaint has become a little bit streaky in those locations. So we're just going to be going over the larger areas back with our Dragon Red just to liven them up a bit again there. So a little bit of a tidy up step. With the red tidied up, we can have a look and see that we now have a bit of a cleaner and tighter shading going on there, which will look great once we have all the gold detail down. However, for now, we're going to move away from all that and we're going to start our decking, because this is going to be a little bit complicated because we have the turrets and all glued down. Probably should have unglued those during construction. But what we're going to do is use some bootstrap brown, and that is going to be the primary color for our decking. So it's going to be a case of carefully, very carefully, getting into these details. Now, if we do make a mistake, we can just go back over it with our deep gray, because even with the shading and stuff like that, the deep gray is still going to add a little bit of a highlight in there. So if we do make a mess, there is going to be ways and means to tidy it up again. As you can see, this is going to take quite a while, and we got to be careful in there. So just as carefully as possible. With the decking painted, you can see it's quite a dark brown, but that's okay. It's going to look quite nice and rich in amongst all the other detail, which we're going to be moving on to now. And for that, we're going to be using Greedy Gold. This is going to paint all our filigree and edging on the front, a little bit on the back here as well, and a few details up on our turrets and this generator here on the front, as well as our toppers for our smokestacks. So we're back to just taking our time and just adding this color to the model. Now, the reason I haven't gone on and done anything else with the wood is because there is a shade that is going to be applied to it, but it's going to be the same color that the gold is. So what we're doing is just compressing one of our steps and making it do a little bit more. What a difference one color makes to a model. You would think it was more unfinished than it was until we applied that gold, and now you could almost call it done at that. That's looking pretty good. So what I'm going to move on to now is a little bit of shading on our gold and on our decking. And what we're going to be using for that is some strong tone. So simple, straightforward, basically the same process we've done for the last two steps, except we are just going to shade everything down. In fact, I'm going to take a bit more off that and just give that gold some nice depth. Bring some of that detail back that we've lost by applying our gold. And same again on the decking, we will be putting the strong tone in there as well. So after that, we'll maybe do one more little quick step just to apply a little bit more detail, a little bit more shading, and then we'll be able to call it finished. But right now, we're just going to focus on getting our strong tone down. So here we have our Lancelot Cruiser now complete. What I did after the strong tone wash was take a little bit of dark tone and put it onto the ends of the gun barrels just to make them look a little darker, as you can see there as it rotates round, and a little bit onto some of the open areas at the back on the stern there, those little square shapes as the stern comes round. And after that, just a matte varnish, and that is our cruiser complete. And I'm pretty proud of this one personally. I really like that splash of color in there, keeping that red nice and vibrant, that little bit of shading with the speed paints helping to do some of the work that you would usually leave for washes. And I think it works well without being too dull, without being too muddy looking. It still looks like a nice, clean and interesting ship. So all in all, I'm very happy with it. I hope you guys find this one good as well, and it's easy to replicate for you guys painting at home. Please let me know how you get on if you decide to follow this video, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and see you again very soon.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.